Hello and welcome back. I'm your friendly neighborhood technician, and we're going to get started on reassembling the 119. I just ordered a ton of new parts, so probably tomorrow I'm going to have a bunch of parts, so I'll include going through the parts that I ordered in this video also when they arrive. We're going to get the upper oil pan back on. We're going to get the lower oil pan back on also. I ordered a new oil pan as well, so that's going to show up. I'm probably going to do the rear main when it's in the car because it's easier to do when it's in the car and the transmission's out, so I'll do that. And then also I'm going to go over, I'll try to go over the steps and some specifications more than I have in previous videos because I guess a lot of you guys from Ben's World have been keeping track of this and want me to go slower and slow down, which is I'm more than happy to do. I can do that for you. Videos are going to be longer, and I'll try to include more steps and more processes. You can actually see what I'm doing, how I'm doing things and stuff like that, and how the things should go back together. So I'll do that stuff for you guys, and let's get right to it. Okay, so I guess we'll go over some things. Here's the upper pan. Let me get this out of the way here. So remember, I don't have the back bolts in there. Now, this right here is from, I just did the convertible top on a CLK. I replaced the canvas. That's from this. I'm not trying to be dainty with my parts. That's just from the canvas. I just had it on the table already, so it's already set out. But here we go. The rear main, that's going to be more accessible when it's in the car as opposed to trying to do it when it's right here and only having that much space, because there is a tool for installing that seal, which when it's in the car, I will do my best to try to get video of how it's installed and the tool usage. And then also this rear main seal plate, which I'm not replacing. I'm going to have to take that off and reseal that as well. I'll go over bead size, stuff like that for you guys also, as well as the sealing surface right here for the front timing cover. That's going to have to get resealed also right here. But there are some O-rings right here, and there are also a couple more O-rings for the timing cover right here, and there's two more at the top. I threw this in the parts washer. I'm going to throw it back in the parts washer to try to get it a little more clean because it is dirty and gunky. It's kind of been sitting here for a bit while I've been waiting for more parts. So also I'm going to replace that. That's on order also. That's the guide for the timing chain, or not the timing chain, the oil pump chain. I'm going to replace that seal, and then we're going to clean the surface of the heads. I still have not done that right here. So figured I'd wait to get that on video for you guys. I'll clean that up. I'll go over procedure, stuff like that, cleaning that properly, what to do, what not to do, stuff like that. And then, anybody want to guess what this is for? Yep, it's a straight edge. We're going to check the straightness of the block on each head. Then we're going to check the straightness of the head as well. Then here's one of the bolts. I am going to go over the bolts also, which I could probably do that right now. These bolts are stretch bolts. They do have a minimum and maximum. Actually, they don't really have a minimum. They have a new and they have a maximum length. Now, the new length is 160 millimeters, and maximum, I believe, is 162.7 millimeters. So I measured these. This is about 161, but I am replacing them anyways, just because a lot of them came out looking like this. Pretty good, nice and clean, but there was one of them that came out looking like that, which I don't really like. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm going to have to run this tap in there. I'm not trying to take any of the meat out of the bores. I'm not gonna try to take any meat out of the threads. I'm just trying to clean it up. I'm gonna run it in there and try to clean some of that up. So that's what my handy dandy tap and die set is for. But the rest of them I have over here. Here are the rest of those. Those are the other bolts for the timing cover. These right here, I'll measure one for you. See right here. Now, overall length, there are other measurements as far as the stretch shank diameter, which has a minimum also for when it stretches, but the maximum, like I said, is 162.7, and you can see, I mean, it's a little, my tape measure is a little munched right there, but you can see right there, it's right about 160 millimeters. So it's still okay, but like I said, I'm gonna replace all of them anyways, because in for a penny, in for a pound, huh? I mean, well, I mean, it's German, so in for a Pfennig, in for a Deutschmark, I would say. But that's what we're going to do with that. So here we are. I'm going to clean this out. I'm doing this upside down because I don't want any of the stuff that I get out of these, any of the buildup, to fall into the coolant jackets or anywhere that it's not supposed to go. So I'm going to clean it out with it upside down so it all falls out. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've already done this one. So as you can see, it, the bolt goes in there and threads really well. But also what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to throw a bore scope down each one of these so I can make sure that I have everything out of the head bolt holes, just because I don't want any of these bolts to bottom out on any kind of buildup that's still in that. See, that one actually went in there really nice. So I'm just going to run the tap in there, and just to make sure. Tap doesn't need to go all the way. It's not going to go all the way down to the bottom, but like I said, I'm not taking any the material or metal out of the threads. I don't want to make that any bigger because that's just going to loosen it up, and it's probably going to strip if that happens. But yeah, see, nothing coming off. So I like that one. Let's go to the next one. That one in there really nice too, so I'm not going to touch that one. There's a train going by if you can hear it. Also that one, really nice. Now I am going all the way down till the bolt stops. So actually I'm going to spray these out. I'm not forcing it in there. I'm not going all the way down and then tightening. I'm just going all the way down to the bolt stops and calling it a day. Like I said, I'm going to double check that with the bore scope, and I'll go through all that also and let you guys see that process. That's not something that's necessary. It's just something that, since I have it, I mean, I don't have one personally. I'm going to borrow one. But since I have that ability, I'm going to do that anyways, just to check, because it wouldn't hurt. That one nice also. That one's good also. Oh, also forgot to mention that I went ahead and I had to order all that stuff pretty quick because the bolts, the head bolts, there are 20 of them. So I had to order those, and the ones I ordered, I was told, are the last 20 in the country. So I went ahead and ordered those. Had to order new washers also. A few other things I was told were also the last ones in the country, so I went ahead and ordered those as well, so I didn't have to order any of that stuff from Germany and have the stuff take a lot longer. And these are all pretty nice on this side. You guys will see when I get to that one that was all gunky and had all that buildup in it. I think it's on the other side. So this one's a little I might want to run the tap down that one just because it's starting to get a little firm, but it's still no, see, that stopped. See what it looks like when it comes out. Yeah, it looks all right. You know what we're gonna do? Because I don't want to run this in there dry, I'm gonna throw some lube on that. I have some thick power steering fluid that I use only for this, because I don't want to get any metal shavings in there and then use that on a car. So Well, you can see some kind of buildup on there. Hope those aren't metal shavings. That would be terrible. Let's see. Focus. Come on, phone. There you go. Oh. That's it. Nice and smooth all the way till the end. Well, that's it for this side. Let's move on to the next. All right, here we are on this side. Let's get to it. Smooth to the end. Sounds good too. I think that one that was really, really bad is over. That one was okay, just seems a tiny bit gritty, so I'm going to spray it out and I'm going to try it again. Yeah, you can see some of the stuff on the end of that one. Possibly. Come on, focus. There we go. Yep. Much better. That one's alright. Spray it out. Try that one again too. Felt a tiny bit gritty. You can see I'm not trying to force this in there at all. I like starting bolts by hand because you never want to chance cross-threading something at this point. Maybe I got lucky in that one that was really boogered up. It brought out all the stuff, all the schmutz. I'm gonna guess that one was that one that was boogered up. So I'm gonna do that one last. You know what? I'm gonna do that one next because it doesn't really matter. I just don't want it dripping down that way after I clean the bottom. Oops, wrong hole. That's what she said. Sorry, bad joke. You can hear stuff squishing around in there. But that one actually didn't feel too bad. Maybe I got lucky and that one bolt brought all the junk out with it. I can't imagine. I mean, maybe I'm jinxing myself. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. Moment of truth. I think that's it. I mean, it's going, but it's a little firm to turn. So I'm not even going to go all the way. I don't want to force all this stuff down to the bottom and then compact it in the bottom, you know what I mean? So Let's get more of this. I'll run that tap in there. Again, not forcing it. I don't want to cut the threads. I just want to clean the threads. So right there, that's a little hard. I don't like that. Yep. More junk. Alrighty, so here's a little bit came out. Nothing like what was built up on that one bolt though. Which I guess I can be thankful for that. Oh, that's all the way in. Well, all the head bolt holes are cleaned out. Let's move on. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to clean the surface of this oil pan off, the upper pan. Now, you don't want to use any sharp-edged instruments or abrasive, like wire wheels or any kind of abrasive things, because you could actually change the surface of this. You can see how the surface of it is machined, and what could happen is if you use a razor, you nick it. This is only a paper gasket that's on here. It's not silicone, so you could actually cause a line for oil to leak out of if you do that. So I'm just going to clean it with some brake cleaner and a rag, and as you can see, that's pretty much all you need, because it's, you know, like I said, it's a paper gasket. You don't want to cause yourself any leaks when you're trying to clean the surface of it. Also, and it's not necessary to get 100% of all the stuff off, like this discoloration. It's a little sticky right there, but it's not a buildup, so that will get sealed. So now when I'm doing silicone, when I'm using silicone on the front timing cover, like right here, right there, and up here at the, actually this might not, yeah, up here at the top, wherever it's needed, if there is silicone there, I'll go over that also. There's no silicone right here because that's where the gasket for this meets. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot to get all the stuff off there, so just make sure there's no buildup. You're not having any ridges where the gasket's not going to seal properly. But like I said, you don't need to use anything abrasive because you could actually damage the surface. That's about it. Doesn't take much. Now we're going to clean the opposite surface on the block. Okay, here's the block. I have covered up basically the inside of the engine. There's the crankshaft and the connecting rods and the rod caps and everything right there. I don't want to get anything that I clean off to go in the block. I did that. I am not going to spray any of the cleaner on the block. I'm just going to spray it on the rag so I don't blast any dirt or any grime inside the motor. See all that oil right there? That's gonna have to get cleaned up too. Just soak it up with a rag. Everything that's just discoloration that's not built up or anything like that, so that's okay. Now on this engine, it is going to be okay that I do the rear main later once it's in the car because of the fact that this is a paper gasket right here and it's not silicone. On the later motors, like the 112, 113 or the 272, 273 motors, the upper oil pan is sealed with all silicone. So right here would be silicone. So if I put the pan on right now, I would have to do that right now just because of the silicone, the pathway for the silicone delay. Switch to a clean side. That train again. That's it. Block's clean. Now, I can put the gasket on right now. The gasket's probably going to stick out about that far, basically to the end of this. So I can do that right now, set the pan on, and then when I get the timing cover on, I can do, which it'll be fine because it's paper gasket right there. It's not silicone like on the newer motors. Also, I'm gonna have to dig it out. I do have a new oil level sender. Here we go. Oil level sender. You can see it just sticks through the block right here. There's a little clip right here that holds it in there. Here's the new one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and install that. All you gotta do, pop this little clip out, push it in right there. You see it came out pretty easily. It probably would have leaked if I'd have tried to reuse that. I'm going to go ahead and lube up these O-rings. Just a little bit of assembly lube. Of course, I probably didn't need to lube up that one. That probably goes with the connector. But I can clean it off. Actually, you know what? Let me clean this out too. I don't want any grit or grime or anything in there to get in there and wear out those O-rings, trying to put it in there and cause a leak. pretty good. There we go. And there. Clean off the clip because why not? After all, it's a Mercedes. Gotta look good. Pay no attention to all this other grimy stuff. And then, you know what? I missed that part too. There we go. Here we have the gasket. Now this will only go on there one way. You'll find that out pretty quick. When you look over here and you see that right there, then you see this hole right here that's covered up. So, and this gasket is a whole lot flimsier than I thought it was. It was inside a big package with a cardboard piece in it. I thought it was a lot more rigid, but I guess not. But as you can see right there, all these holes line up, those line up perfectly. So I'm just gonna have to be careful and not damage this part when it's just dangling there before I get the timing cover on. Okay, so here we are. These are those bolts I was telling you about. These ones are pretty snug in there, so being able to actually get these tightened down with a torque wrench is going to be pretty difficult. The torque is only 9 Newton meters, so it's not too terribly tight. I'll probably have to tighten these ones by hand. That's also 9 Newton meters. These back here are going to be 21 Newton meters, and then these ones are going to be 40 Newton meters. These ones go to the transmission. Now, I was looking at the work instructions just now, and they did say that there is some sealant back here. So when I take this back apart to do the rear main, when it's in the car, right there, I will have to get some sealant, and I'll have to apply it back here. Now, I believe the sealant path, it did show back to this bolt right here, but I can't imagine that for the rear main instructions it would have you take off the upper oil pan. So when I do the rear main, I will throw some sealant underneath the gasket right here, because I'll have to take these bolts off also, because these bolts go through the back of the block to the rear main plate. So I will have to I'll put some sealant there, I'll put some sealant here, and make sure nothing's gonna leak. So right now I'm gonna get to putting these back in by hand, sorry, details here, and they're honking and stuff. So this is what I use, just a 5mm, and sorry, I didn't say that before, these are 5mm Allens. So you can see right here, this one is fairly snug in there. Right there. And that one's you can see right here, that's way too tight. I can't even get that in there, just hits the top. So I'm gonna have to use an Allen, get in there by hand, and then use an Allen. So you can see I have a little click type torque wrench. You can see it has Newton meters on that side, inch pounds on that side. So we're going to set this to 9. Where's 9? 9.61. I think it can handle an extra 0.6 Newton meters. There we go. And there wasn't really a set path on here. So like I said, it's not. It's just a paper gasket. It's not sealant, so it doesn't have to crush in the proper sequence. Let's see here. Nice and even. You don't want to go fast with a torque wrench. You don't want to slam a torque wrench tight. You don't want to go nice and even and slow, so you can get the proper torque. Now, like I said, I'm going to have to tighten the other ones on the other side by hand, but at least I can verify that these ones are the proper torque. Now, this torque wrench does go high enough to where I can do those 13 millimeter bolts and torque those properly to 21 Newton meters. Now, look at that. I forgot one. I still want to know where the frick that 7th bolt goes. And this one, actually this one I can do, but I don't get very much turning out of it. Only a little bit. Cool, got that one. This one's going to be tricky. Only because you can see it's not exactly going in there straight. So I'll probably have to use the Allen to tighten up. This one, no, you know what? That one actually tightened. This one, no way I can get that in there. So, just gonna have to tighten over that. It's about 9. I'll get that one. Now, we're going to torque these back ones to 21 Newton meters with a 13. And you can see this one goes right up to, what is that, 23, sorry, it's a little shiny, 23. So we're going to set that to 20. Or 21. What it was. So there's a 20.9, so we'll go 20.9 plus a notch. So that's 20.9 plus 1.1. Close enough. moving the whole engine. Nice and even. There we go. So all of them are tightened, so now I can put in these bolts right here. Put them back in. With my excessive use of washers. There's 6 there, put 6 on the other side. Alrighty. Got the back bolts back in the pan. Oh, you know what? I didn't torque those down. Glad I saw that. Of course, I need to take those out anyways if we're going to do that, so that's not that big of a deal. So when I do the rear main, I'm going to have to take those out anyways, so that's okay. Now, let's flip this engine over. There we go. You can see that gasket just peeking out there a little bit. I can get that in there, that's no big deal. So we'll have to make sure that's sitting just right. You can see it's a little loose, but whatever. Should be alright. Back there's okay. So now, see if we can get, you can see all those. Actually, I can see the bottom of that. I don't really need to, I just need to shine a light down those things. I don't need to actually bore scope it. I can see there's nothing in there. Cleaned out a lot better than I thought they were. Perfect. Let's see all of them. Like I said, you want to make sure that there is nothing built up in the bottom of these holes, because the last thing you want is to go through all this work and then you're going to notice, or when you get them all torqued down, that the bolts are actually stopping on some kind of grime or grease or some kind of buildup in the bottom of these holes, and then you have improperly torqued head bolts. So that's that. So next we're going to clean off these. We're going to clean off the surface of the block on both sides. We're going to clean off the surfaces of the heads on both sides, and we're going to go through the we're going to do the measure the the flatness of these, make sure there's no run out. We're going to check. We're going to take the straight edge, and we're going to measure between the cylinders. We're going to measure diagonally, both ways, and just make sure. And we're going to stick a feeler gauge underneath it. Make sure that that's not that these are flat and it's going to seal properly. So that's what we're going to do next. So all that will be next week's video. We'll get that cleaned off, the other side cleaned off, both of them do all that measuring, and we'll get this installed next week, because then by the time I already do that, I'll have all the parts, all the guides and everything. I can start putting the timing cover back on, because I still have to put all those timing chain guides back on this before I put the heads on, and before I put the timing cover on, because they go on a lot of these dowels right here. You can see right here, there's one, this one, that's where a timing chain, one of the timing guides goes. I have the sprocket that goes right here for that also, and then we'll clean all this off, and then we'll get it all sealed properly. You can still right here, see right here, there's still some chunks of the previous timing guide. So we'll get all this cleaned off better, we'll get it all lubed up in the places with some assembly lube where it needs to be lubed up, and I'll go through all that also. And we'll do that next week. Thanks for watching. Remember, hit subscribe.